Yeah. So when we talk about Indian polity, we need to understand कि उसके किन किन elements में divided है. So first is basics, right? Then is history कि कहाँ से मतलब what are the things that happened कि uh, Indian Constitution adopt हुआ नया, right? Then comes articles and parts. So जब Indian Constitution adopt हुआ था तब से लेके अब तक there have been a lot of changes in the articles and the parts and the schedules of Indian Constitution, right? Then comes amendments. So amendments are basically the changes that you make in the acts uh, of the Indian Constitution. उसको बस amendments का नाम दे दिया है, right? Sources. Sources are basically कि हमने Indian Constitution में कहाँ से दूसरे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से चीज़ें उठाई हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल अमेरिकन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से क्या उठाया है, आयरिश कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से क्या उठाया है, ब्रिटिश कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से क्या उठाया है, राइट? सो दैट वी विल डिस्कस इन sources. Then comes the part basics. So when we talk about basics, we need to understand that Indian Constitution was adopted on 26th of November 1949, right? And जब वो start हुआ था तो उसमें 395 articles, 8 schedules and 22 parts थे. Then तब से लेके अब तक there have been 106 amendment acts जो कि पास हो चुके हैं. And उसकी वजह से there have been 448 articles, 12 schedules, 25 parts. So as you can see, there have been increment in the articles. Articles में improve हुआ है, schedules में improve हुआ है, and parts में improve हुआ है. Then हमारी country को बोला जाता है Republic of India, not Union of India, like United States of America के जैसे बोला जाता है उनको. Irrespective of that, हमें Republic of India बोला जाता है, right? Now coming on to the history part. So when we talk about history, we need to understand कि वो दो चीज़ों में divided है. First is company rule, जो कि था 1773 to 1857, right? And उसमें 8 important acts थे. First was the Regulating Act. It's important to understand the Regulating Act because it was the first step to regulate companies' affairs in India, right? और क्या features थे? Supreme Court in Calcutta was established in 1774. First Governor General was Warren Hastings. Made Bombay and Madras sub-presidency of Bengal, and established Code of Directors. Right. Then the next act is Amending Act. Amending Act of 1774. इसको Act of Settlement भी बोला जाता है. And it was brought in to rectify the previous acts. Right. Then comes the Pitt's India Act of 1784. It is important because again it created Board of Control, or as we can see, BOC. British government got supreme control over the company's administration and affairs in India. So that's why Pitt's India Act is important on its own. Then Act of 1786. Why is it important? Because the next Governor General, that was Lord Cornwallis, before he presumed his position as Governor General, he put in 2 demands, right? और उन्हीं डिमांड्स को पूरा करते हुए चार्टर एक्ट ऑफ 1793 implement किया गया. Two major points: it gave more power to Governor General, extended rule for another 20 years, right? Then comes the Charter Act of 1813. It's important because again it extended the rule for another 20 years, and it abolished trade monopoly in India. Christian missionaries were allowed to come to India. Spread of Western education. Authorized British government to import tax, right? Then Charter Act of 1833. Governor General got all the civil and military power. उनको सारा military and civil powers मिल गया, right? Then provided companies territories. So first time company की जितनी भी territories थी उनको बोला गया in his interest of his majesty, his heirs and successors, right? और एक और इसका क्या पॉइंट है, लाइक चार्टर एक्ट 1833 से पहले जितने भी सारे एक्ट्स थे या जितने भी लॉज ऐसे पास किए गए थे उनको रेगुलेशंस बोला गया था. बट जितने भी लॉज बने चार्टर एक्ट ऑफ 1833 उनको एक्ट्स बोला गया. right? So this is one more important point of Charter Act 1833. Then comes the Charter Act of 1853. इसमें इंडियन legislative council established की गई, which included 6 more people in the Council of Governor General. Macaulay Committee का भी establishment हुआ, which presented their findings about Indian civil services in 1854. And इसका एक और जो important point है, that is it didn't specify the period of extension of company's rule over Indian territories, right? Then it's about 1857. 1857 we all know, revolt of 1857 happened, right? फिर उसके बाद आता है क्राउन रूल. सो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एक्ट 1858, जिसको एक्ट ऑफ गुड गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया भी बोला जाता है, राइट? एंड इट अबॉलिश्ड company's rule, ended system of board of control and court of directors, and the first viceroy of India, because the designation of governor general was changed to viceroy of India, and Lord Canning became the first viceroy, right? So Indian Constitution, Indian Council Act included 3 Indians in Legislative Council. First one was Raja of Banaras, the Maharaja of Patiala, and Sir Dinkar Rao. And एक और important क्या चीज थी? It started giving back powers to Presidency of Madras and Bombay, right? And new legislative councils were set up for Bengal, northwestern provinces, and Punjab, right? Because at that time, if we can recall, there have been a lot of wars जो British जीत रहे थे, along with Punjab and northwest provinces, right? So because of that. Then comes Indian Council Act of 1892. It allowed nomination of non-official members. So basically what they उसमें क्या हुआ था कि instead of describing the term election, उन्होंने बस प्रोसीजर डिफाइन कर दिया था. उन्होंने कहीं भी वर्ड इलेक्शन नहीं यूज किया था. इंस्टेड उन्होंने नॉमिनेशन यूज किया था, राइट? सो दैट्स व्हाई Indian Council Act of 1892 is important. Then comes Indian Council Act of 1909. It is also called Morlemento Reforms क्योंकि इसमें communal representation था, and it allowed separate electorate for different minorities in Indian provinces, right? Satyendra Prasad Sinha was the first Indian in Vice Chancellor's Executive Council, right? And because of this, Lord Minto को father of communal electorate भी बोला गया. Then comes Government of India Act 1919, announcement of introduction of responsible government on August 20, 1917. Montagu Chelmsford reform जिसको बोला जाता है और हुआ था, ठीक है? Then comes Government of India Act 1935, introduced bicameralism in 6 out of 11 provinces, divided powers in federalist, provincialist and concurrent list. So जैसे कि अभी हमारे पास सेंट्रल लिस्ट, स्टेट लिस्ट एंड कॉन्करेंट लिस्ट है, वैसे उस टाइम पे कॉन्करेंट, प्रोविंशियल एंड फेडरल लिस्ट था. देन द एस्टैब्लिशमेंट ऑफ फेडरल कोड भी हुआ था 1937 में. देन द लास्ट इज इंडियन इंडिपेंडेंस एक्ट 1947. ऑन 20th Feb जो ब्रिटिश प्राइम मिनिस्टर थे क्लेमेंट एटली, उन्होंने 20th Feb 1947 को डिक्लेयर कर दिया कि 30th June 1948 तक ब्रिटिश रूल खत्म हो जाएगा सारा इंडियन प्रोविंसेस पे. बट एक्चुअली में वो 15th August 1947 को ही खत्म हो गया. एंड इट प्रोक्लेम्ड, जो ये एक्ट आया था उसमें बताया गया था lapse of British paramountcy on Indian provinces. And because Lord Mountbatten was the viceroy at that time, So he became the first Governor General of New Dominion of India. Also, it allowed for division of two different dominions, that was India and Pakistan, right? So this was the history of how uh, the Indian Constitution came into the existence, right? Yeah.